more time to waste, so let's run. Eyes pulsing.
Radiant team ban.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation. We're going to be bringing you guys a game between Team Liquid and Mouz Sports. It's a best of 3 series here, and we are actually going on into Game 3. So this has been Liquid taking one game, Mouz Sports taking one, and now we're going to see what's going to be going on with this final draft, with this final matchup here, to see who's going to be taking the match, taking the points away. I myself am Blaze, joined by Vikrmond. How's it going, man?
Hey Blaze, how you doing? Two pretty good games, actually. Mouz definitely showing some absolutely fantastic execution in Game 2. I think what people were really looking to see from Mouz as they sort of make their re-entry after a very short break, but still, we haven't seen them play that many games in the last week or so. But we're sort of seeing, is Mouz going to hold together? Can they actually put out some great games and some great execution? In that second game, Fata played very, very well. Alex on Jakiro was fantastic. And just in general, Mouz playing a little bit reinvigorated compared to what happened in the first game of the series. And while these teams are more or less know what their status is going to be relative to playoffs in this tournament, TL obviously very likely to advance, Mouz relatively not likely to advance. It's still an opportunity to show your skill, try to win the game, and certainly to keep any of Mouz's dreams alive, they have to secure this Game 3.
Yeah, sliver of hope still available there, and they definitely can be trying to look towards it, but yeah, it is, as we mentioned, slim chance they have this game here, then up against Empire. If they take those 2 wins, they could be knocking out Empire and pulling them out of the playoff bubble, even if Team Liquid is still almost guaranteed. They pretty much have to win, as long as they don't lose every single game. Mathematically, they can be dropped down to 5th place, but they are currently ranked number 1, and they should be here to stay, most likely, to go on into the playoffs, which will be coming up later on in April, I believe 27th to 28th, so that'll be interesting there. But we kind of were talking a lot about the draft and the different opinions about how the strategy kind of resolved itself. Now here we do see both Nyx, Wisp taken off the board, as well as Batrider, and this time Magnus. Actually, the Magnus not going to be an option. So how do you feel about this draft going on into it, with Mouz Sports once again picking up Puck for Fata, and this time I believe Nature's Prophet for Koikwa?
I actually like this. We see Liquid actually flinching or blinking a little bit from their picks of the first 2 games, where in both games they actually made sure that they banned out that Nature's Prophet. Probably Koikwa's strongest hero as far as in this Mouz Sports lineup. So they locked those out both games, and in this one they're just like, no, we'd rather just not have to work around RP all the time. So Liquid changes up their banning plan, and Mouz Sports immediately pounces upon it by securing that Nature's Prophet extremely quickly and picking up the puck again. And I like this from Mouz. I mean, you sort of did see Fata really excelling on that puck last time. And I mentioned, regardless of what the sort of overall perspective on their draft was, I did mention that I wanted to see Fata on more sort of big plays generating heroes than Magnus. And the ban of Magnus in this game generates exactly that opportunity for him to reprise his role on puck. And if he executes it as well as he did the first game, I mean, that'll give Mouz a strong anchor to build a team around. Yeah,
most definitely. It's a very, very strong pick with a lot of potential here, but it also sets up Team Liquid to be able to draft up against him, maybe get heroes that are a little bit beefier, able to survive against some burst magic damage, and also just follow through on some hard lockdowns. So right now we do see the Rubik picked up. He can spell steal things such as that Nature's Prophet teleport, the Dream Coil, the Orb, the Waning Rift, all those really, really cool things. But I think it actually might lend a hand to what their next pick is coming up within the next 20 seconds here. Rubik is one of those heroes that you like to pick up if you don't want to be stolen from, but instead they actually go for the Phantom Lancer. So they have Keeper Light, Phantom Lancer, Rubik in a defensive tri-lane environment. They're in a position here to just make sure that they can go in for the kill by making sure that the tri-lane can't be contested. Telekinesis and the Illuminate, great 3v3 presence skill sets.
Right. Obviously, Blaze, a torrent of ink and typing and rage and voice has been expended over the Keeper of the Light Phantom Lancer combination. But what I do have to say about it in this game is that the way in which TL structured this draft to pick up this PL means that Mouz kind of have to scramble for countermeasures, because their first 2 picks were both of the heroes that won't be part of the tri-lane. And so they now find themselves in the unenviable position of having to draft a counter tri-lane to this Keeper of the Light Rubik Phantom Lancer with 1/3 pick, and then through a flurry of bans that TL will send out to make sure that Mouz Sports won't be able to effectively counter. Yeah. Like right now you have to decide, do we take our carry? Or, because if we don't take Darkseer, well actually Darkseer is probably not going to happen, but if we don't take something like Shadow Demon right now, we'll never see that hero again.
Yeah, most definitely. They have to be opting for, if they want to actually directly contest this tri-lane, which I believe they should. Phantom Lancer is just one of those heroes that free farming away is going to be very, very difficult to bring him down. I mean, they could just go for like a gyrocopter, or I've even seen an alchemist be rather effective in just dispersing a lot of AoE damage, but right now they just pick up the Lifestealer here. It was used to some effect in that tri-lane versus tri-lane situation previously to lock down the Phantom Lancer, and I presume that Black is going to be looking to pick that up to try this once more, but that's only because I feel that they don't want to make force the Nature's Prophet into the jungle. Nature's Prophet is, in this situation, going up against a Coddle, Rubik, and Phantom Lancer, no chance at all to survive on that lane. Even with cool Treant maneuvers and micro, you're still going to be in a position where you're going to get dropped down, and he's going to be forced into a, what do I usually call it, a 3.5-1-0 type laning situation, and it just would not be nearly as strong as what they would prefer. So if they want the Nature's Prophet to get some good, solid experience and gold outside of the jungle, they're going to have to go for that aggressive try.
I agree with you, definitely. And the Lifestealer pick is really just about maximizing comfort value for Black, in addition to the fact that Lifestealer, excellent 3 vs 3 lane hero. Liquid, I feel that we're getting the slight advantage in that 3 vs 3 until Mouz sort of flipped it with strong execution, good rotations from Fata's Puck, and good ice paths as well, good area control by Alex and Paz. So Mouz are going to seek to sort of replicate Liquid's early success without any of their later game failures. And to do that, they're going to have to sort of go up in this Phantom Lancer's face. And the additional thing is, again, going back to Team Liquid's overarching plan for the series, in both of the first 2 games, they secured Lifestealer early just to keep Black off of it, because he's a sort of a well-known Lifestealer specialist. And so in this game, Mouz sort of have the opportunity, and I think they felt some compunction to sort of spring for it since it was open.
Yeah, so this is an interesting stage here. With all these support bans coming on out, there's really a lot less to choose from. I mean, we did see Fluff pick up Lion, which is something that I would say is a little bit unorthodox, but now in this position here, they're losing the Shadow Demon, which, like you said, you should pretty much just wave goodbye to that, because Disruption, too good in the mid to late game against Phantom Lancer, and too powerful in a tri-lane versus tri-lane situation. So taking that out, as well as the Jakiro, what do they have really to work with from the ground up now that they have a Puck, great solo, Lifestealer, a great carry, Nature's Prophet has a lot of potential to join the fray and make things happen, but as far as supports that can actually dish out damage as well as disable and have some presence on the lane, really what do they have left in their arsenal?
Well, we have seen Mouz play Venge before, for instance.
Sure, Mouz loves that hero.
And yeah, I'm not actually surprised to see the Darkseer banned, because it would fill out TL's lineup pretty well. As does Clockwork, for that matter. I mean, the Clock is also excellent. They could go Venge. We've seen them play it before. The mispositioning effect is not that dramatic in this game, although it's a decent response to Clockwork cogs that you're not happy with, is to sort of swap somebody out of those cogs and swap the Venge in. It does give a setup stun. If you wanted to do something like Venge Leshrac, that's an option. I'm not saying Venge is still a pretty exotic pick, and her Vengeance Aura isn't going to be very useful for Mouz otherwise, but just in terms of other support options that they have, if they do want to run a high-pressure tri-lane, they do have that option. Not a lot other than that. I mean, there's still good supports left in, but none of the sort of tier 1s other than Leshrac, Lina, who both want you to have a setup stun for them.
Yeah, most definitely. I actually completely agree with that sentiment. I mean, the Vengeful Spirit isn't like a keeper light. It's not, oh my gosh, they picked this and they have so much potential to screw us over in the lane with a couple of good spellcasts here. But Vengeful Spirit is still a very solid pick. Has some push potential with Nature's Prophet, with Aura and to some extent Wave of Terror. But along with that, has, and I wouldn't say she's a soft counter by any means to Phantom Lancer, but she can put that pressure out, because what you can pretty much accomplish is if you have a Sentry or any kind of detection down, you Magic Missile click, you go for your Nether Swap and click on them. As long as you don't break vision, aka the Sentry ward that I mentioned, you will be able to actually target that one out. You just have to know which one it is in the first place. So just by some good analysis on the fly of which one's taking the most damage, which one's dishing out the most damage, you can actually get a lot of great opportunities to pick Phantom Lancer off and pull him into a bad position, right next to a Lifestealer, right next to a Puck who can really lock him down in that spot. So I could see that being high potential, but right now, starting off the Leshrac, they only have open wounds to start it off as far as potential, but I do love this Night Stalker pick in response. And sorry for going on a little bit lengthy here, but Night Stalker is one of those pickups that just has so much potential in the mid lane. We saw him in Star Ladder at the end. He just had so much so many opportunities to just go for pickoffs left and right, really just make people fear the Knight. And with this silence, you lock down Puck, you lock down Leshrac, you even lock down Lifestealer because he can't rage out. And a non-magic immune Lifestealer is one that's extremely vulnerable to everything else that they throw at him.
Yeah, this Night Stalker pick, I agree, is all about this silence and the crippling fear, and I actually think that that's a huge deal. You can try to sort of go with a Storm Spirit or a Queen of Pain and just rush. Actually, AA,
wow.
so... Okay. Mouz does like the AA a little more than most teams do, and he does give you some global presence. The Chilling Touch is not that big of a deal in this game because they only really have one right-clicker. Interesting choice. I want to talk quickly about the Night Stalker, just following on to what you said. You can try to sort of rush up the Orchid on Storm Spirit or Queen of Pain, but I think TL have felt so far that they haven't quite gotten that purely dominant mid. Like, that really only happens when you win mid by a large margin, and even when Korok was on Storm, Liquid won handily, but you can't say that they won mid. So instead they're saying, we do want the silence, we think silence is extremely effective against this team, and it's just as effective now that they've added Ancient Apparition on, honestly. And so we know that that will happen no matter how mid goes, essentially. We will be able to have that highly mobile silence that generates gank opportunities in concert with Clockwork.
I'm really curious to see how this AA works out, because Alex is picking up, like you said, they've had some success with it. I've seen Dignitas try to run it a couple of times, even in TPL, and it hasn't really worked. But in this situation here, Chilling Touch has some potential because Leshrac and Ancient Apparition both have a lot of very large range of attack, and even though they're not hard right-clickers, that's what the Chilling Touch is for, to make them hard right-clickers, add in their burst of damage. But along with that, the Chain of Operations, the Order of Operations or something along those lines, is going to be the Open Wounds into Split Earth with that Cold Feet taken away. That'll set up a large amount of disable potential, and if they have Sentry Wards down, that could spell disaster for that Phantom Lancer. But right now, just trying to go for this first blood. They're actually in a great spot for it. Fluff has no idea. This is terrible for him. Open Wounds to start it off. There is going to be all that damage. They get that big AoE of attack damage. Right-clicking away, Black will start off very strong, swooping on in, and hopefully not saying something too... Anyways, yeah, so there we go.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, so...
I think he meant to ally chat that.
Sure. Either way, they start off strong, getting the pick off onto Fluff and stuff, and from there, Black is able to immediately start off the game with 413 gold. So really good position for him. Shambling on out for that creep block, and it does look like they really want to wholeheartedly contest this bottom lane down here.
That kill is no joke. I mean, they got it the exact combo that they want. Once this AA actually hits level 2, as you mentioned, that Open Wounds, Split Earth, Cold Feet. If you Cold Feet first and then immediately Open Wounds them and actually land the Split Earth, you're pretty much guaranteed to actually make that happen. So if you land the stun and the Cold Feet goes for its full duration, whoever that hit is pretty much a dead man walking. So Liquid are going to have to be very careful how they manage this tri-lane. Even with quite a bit of help from Korok, actually, once you hit the Knight. Problem, of course, being Korok isn't going to come help until roughly that 6-minute mark. So before that, Mouz are going to feel very comfortable.
And you can't say the same about the Nature's Prophet. Up on top, Koikwa will be laning up, will be getting ranks and teleport relatively early. We actually see that combo already starting off onto TC, trying to bring him down. He doesn't have Invis skilled up, and he does take a fall. So he will respawn pretty quickly to jump back on in. Black does get caught in the exchange, but it's going to be the supports that pick up the experience. Duking it out with Pause, trying to finish this off here. There is going to be the Illuminate to clean up that kill. Alex taking a lot of damage from the creeps. Telekinesis back up in 2 seconds. Went for the right click though, and he won't get the range. Oh no, I think Fluff shouldn't have gone for that right click. Instead, gets caught out by Black. Puts him up in the air. Lifestealer does not have rage, but is still having an opportunity to right-click down on Fluff. There is the Fade Bolt going on down to finish off the Ancient Apparition, but the right-clicks come out to trade out on Ruvik. It's just madness down here. Back and forth, all of them just right-clicking away, adding in as much damage and disable as much as possible. But in the end, is anybody on top here? 3 for 3 as far as this matchup.
Liquid actually picked up a kill on Koikwa at top.
Oh, whoa, yeah, we're actually, no, I'm sorry, I counted that wrong. 4 for 2, because Mousesports had the first blood already.
Yes.
It's 4 for 2 with a kill up on the top lane. I'm assuming you were catching down bottom, and you can't really fill me in on that one there. But,
yeah, sorry.
What do you think was going on with the Nature's Prophet pick?
What he landed was 2 cogs. Koikwa got hit by cogs in such a way that he got drained twice, and then Boba waited for the next cogs cooldown, and I think that trapped him plus rocket hits. And just melee.
Yeah.
But great play from Boba. I mean, he is a great Clockwork player. Like I said, I don't know if I would say that he brought Clockwork Blade to the West, but he was one of the first people here to really adopt that pick, and he's practiced it a lot. He's very, very, very good with it.
Yeah, so starting to dominate up on the top lane here. He's actually topping out the experience per minute as per that solo kill here. And actually, Clockwork is a great counter pick to Nature's Prophet. I was talking about the potential with a lot of other heroes and how they can interact, but I gotta say, Clockwork being able to pretty much lock down, put a bullseye on your back. We actually see Fluff lifting up Thought in the mid lane, trying to burn him down, but I don't think there's that much potential. Korok will take some hits here, but the bottle will be back on its way shortly. I'm curious to see if Mouz does any reaction down on bottom based on the fact that Fluff isn't anywhere nearby. But until that comes, just to kind of finish my thought there, the fact that the Clockwork has a lot of potential, sprouting a Prophet sprouting himself in pretty much paints a bullseye on his back that he can just be hook-shotted, no problem at all, and once that battery assault starts rolling, there's no chance to teleport out either. So it's really a great hero to just lock him down and take advantage of the fact that his mobility has limitations if he can't get the cast off.
Yeah, and it's not just Nature's Prophet, Blaze. It's also Leshrac. If Bulba starts a fight on Paz won't even cast.
Yeah. That is so
actually
painful.
Alex
we see Black going in onto IX Mike. Splitterth will follow, so Fluff and Stuff has to get a great telekinesis off onto Black, stuns it out onto PAS as well, so that will keep the Keeper Light alive, and now turning it around, trading back and forth, Illuminate charging, going to hit onto Paz, bringing him down. Big damage going across, down to 2/3 HP.
Keep in mind, Alex was totally caught out, so that was another kill for TC, completely solo. I'm not even sure IX Mike and Fluff were in XP Rage, so... I mean, TC getting more. He doesn't actually have any last hits, basically. He has 6 to Black's 14. But they're just kind of winning out the fight so far.
Yeah, this is not about CS whatsoever. This is all about the trades back and forth, the damage coming on through. Black is much more maneuverable with his phase boots, but so much damage coming in out, he's still going to be suffering quite a bit. Alex coming on in, he has Kofi, he has also that E passive propping onto Black. Big damage coming out, TC will be dropped down, and I don't think Fluff can really change things otherwise. So that was good pick-off, good burst damage, and we're already seeing the magic nuke of Chilling Touch, making sure that they can get the damage across. But how are the other lanes faring? Obviously, this has been kind of back and forth down on bottom. But is Fanta going to be able to break out into that crazy initiation mid style that he was playing last game?
He's certainly going to try, because both teams, I think, are very keen to tip the scales in this bottom lane. The only reason why I sort of think TL have the slight better of this so far is because this is all without Night Stalker. Like, he is confined to the middle. Like, Mouz, not only is he not rotating, Mouz know that there's no possibility of him rotating. And that's a big thing where you can just play much more loosely, and then once the Night Stalker becomes the threat, you really have to just tighten up and play more defensively. So the fact that TL aren't more behind in this lane, I think is something of an advantage for them. Now, Mouz do have a very scary combo, and they can get more kills, so this can change, but we're reaching the point, actually, Korok
so screwed. Oh, painful. He tried to go for any of his casts, avoid a Crippling Fear, anything, but Fata perfectly timed everything. His phase, his Waning Rift, made sure that he couldn't get anything off to prevent the puck's damage, and with double damage rune and that Dream Coil popped, too much for him to handle.
They were actually hoping very close to that point to rotate Bulba over and get the kill on Fanta, and it just, the timing was once again just a little bit off. Sort of like how in the last game we sort of had Bulba rotating over with Korok, and then the 3 players would just die before he arrived. Oh my god,
what
is
Korok doing?
He's copping so much
painful.
damage.
He does get the Crippling Fear off, and we do actually see a TP coming in. They are trying to make sure that he can't jaunt out, but Korok just gets dropped by the orb itself. Fluff has such low movement speed, even with boots of speed, Puck might be able to still get on out of this despite it. Yeah, Fox is just going to keep on walking away. But Bulba looking for a rocket, looking for the vision to get off this hook shot here. He is technically in range. He gets it! Oh my gosh, he gets the hook shot. Fluff gives him the vision. They bring him down right as nighttime strikes. Exactly what they needed to give Korok a little bit more of an opportunity. We don't really think about Night Stalker needing some breathing room, but right here, Korok is putting on the hurt, but Bulba answering back with a beautiful hook shot. That
was such a... I like how you keep saying Korok is on Puck, just kind of force of habit. It is, of course, Fata. No, I totally get it. I would do the same thing. Yeah, I mean, this Night Stalker's only level 5 to Fata's 8, so if you were asking if Fata can have a big game, he sure as heck can. Oh no, what a waste there. Using the telekinesis, the last mana that Rubik had for telekinesis on the Leshrac illusion. Trouble here, actually.
Yeah, there is the big damage coming out of Korok. It won't be enough to net the cold feet, though. They are going to be able to put a lot of damage into Alex. Big output here. There's Drinkwell onto 2 again, focusing Mike and Fluff, but this time they separate nicely. Dodge out the orb, avoid a lot of the damage. Boba in on top of Fata, bursting him down hard, but Korkova is actually landing his auto attacks as well, now having to retreat as it's been pretty much cleaned up. Korok does take a fall, but they are able to bring down both the Leshrac and Fata on the puck there.
Yeah, Korok is not doing well this game, but the flip side is Bulba is doing incredibly. I mean, you and I mentioned earlier that Clockwork would be likely just by virtue of the heroes he's fighting against to have a good game, and Bulba's executed extremely well. He's gotten kills that he has absolutely no business getting, like that puck, like the Koikwa one at top, the Fata one sort of in this sort of general area. That last one I just think was part of a good team fight. He actually kept Korok alive much longer than he otherwise would have been.
So that
he still died, though. That's the thing.
But if Clockwork puts all this gold towards Mechanism, he's going to be in a great spot very early on. Boots, Magic Wand, Bottle now. But now all that gold can go towards something else. TC in a terrible spot. Tries to actually fake them out with some good Doppelwalk action, but once he turns tail, he is underneath that sentry, and they are able to finish the job. So that is unfortunate for him, and they're going to need to commit more to the top lane than just these 3 heroes, because right now Fluff, Mike, and TC not really fit in the bill. Black will be picked up, but he has the Infest. He can just heal up back to full and force them back again. So too much damage coming on out. Puck bottling up a double damage earn, so we'll see some action on mid. Presumably right back on that Night Stalker with Bulba trying to bait it out right now. Looking at Vision, no wards up. This is going to be actually really bad for Fata. He starts off with the Dream Coil. If he forces out the orb, no, he just gets silenced up, and here comes Bulba looking for his hookshot, but actually he can't do enough. Fata finally popping off that Waning Rift with the shortest jaunt of his life. Bulba dodges out, gets the hookshot to deal damage to both, and Pause is going to drop as well. The Cog's doing too much, the Crippling Fear. Here comes Koikok finally coming on in, but Bulba with the flare, finishing off the Leshrac, and they'll walk away. No, they'll take more. They're going to go for Koikok, and with this big telekinesis, they're actually going to finish the job. A couple more right clicks. No, they can't do it. Looking for that rocket, but it's a little bit too far away. I thought Korok might have enough mana for that void, but just a bit shy, unfortunately, for him.
Low health, too. I mean, what a dangerous situation for them. But honestly, Bulba, oh my god. That hook shot was beautiful. Yeah. The fact that he hooked to a target that he actually couldn't hit, but as a result moved through Leshrac. Oh, it's just amazing. Yeah. Really fantastic Clockwork play. Korok, oh my goodness, this is bold.
Yeah, nice. Well, you were talking about HP. I was talking about, Night Stalker, all he needs is that mana to work with. He could care less how close to death he is. He just wants blood everywhere, and in this situation, gets a couple of
He's solo killed at level 8, so that lifts him up to only 1 level behind Fata. Moments ago, he was 3 levels behind him.
Wow. That is big. If that's one thing that Korok's been able to provide this match, it's the opportunity that you realize that a lane is not lost. This is not a situation where you're like, I'm playing from behind, I might as well quit it out. They're doing a lot here, and we do see actually Dream Coil on mid for now. Korok taking quite a few hits here. The Urn helped him to get a little bit more stable, but he does get hit by the coil, and from here they're just going to go for a push on the mid lane through that Nature's Call, which sprouts out actually all 5 Treants. He's already skilled it up to rank 4. As you said, he's doing great on levels, and now Bulba is the only one here to dissuade them. Going in on Koikwa, he does actually get that big cogs and the battery saw, but answering solid back, taking a lot of hits here. The Illuminate cleans up on Koikwa. Alex in a terrible spot will take a fall as well, but they do lose the Clockwork, so it is in the end a 2 for 2. Coming on in, Black wants to finish the job here, has Infest and can easily manage it. So big right clicks coming out, and finishing off almost on TC. They get the kill on Fluff, but they just barely miss out onto that Phantom Lancer as well. So either way, good follow through from Mouse Sports. Really sticking to a fight they were a little bit nervous about, but knew that they could get Black on the front lines. Phase Boots, Drum, he has the damage from Infest. He was just pretty much had every opportunity to just jump on in and do whatever he wanted in that engagement.
I still think TL are looking pretty sloppy in these early parts of the engagements. Like, why have Korok try to go in on Fata there? If he had been alive, oh dear, he's actually going to probably drop.
Route comes on through. He doesn't have any tree cutters, and that pretty much seals the deal right there.
I just don't know. Like in that last fight, Korok, I think, thought that his team was coming like 15 seconds earlier than they were. It's not that he was wrong that they were showing up, it's that they showed up like substantially later than he actually managed to just die. And then Bulba's sort of in a little bit before the team. From that point on, I actually felt that TL were doing okay, considering the fact that they were fighting a 4v5 because Night Stalker was nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, most definitely. So that actually, it puts it in a weird spot because if you look at the goal per minute, you look at the net worth, it's actually showing all three of the core heroes on Mouse Sports are actually leading the pack. We do see actually Frozen Ammunition from the Ancient Apparition flying on out onto TC, doing burst damage, forcing him back here. Fluff is going to get dropped because he did get hit by the Dream Coil, and that's just a couple easy kills, but Korok and Boba answer back with a couple of their own. Ancient Apparition, Leshrac both taking a fall, but Fata's not done yet, getting a nice waiting rift off, but now voided on down. Urcharge goes out as well as Boba's hook. They will be able to seal the deal there, but I don't know if they can get Cogs. Now Black going in for that Infest, but wasn't able to get the damage. The deny, no, the creep still survives, but Boba wants to get those Cogs. Follow through immediately, he can trap him on in. Yeah, perfect timing here. Tower, he catches out Black, they go for big damage output, and with this Illuminate, they should be able to finish it. Good cripple, good Illuminate, they actually come out on top of that.
Nice. I was so scared, honestly. Just like, I felt like it could go from bad to worse for Liquid and we wouldn't have a tight game, because if Mouse had won that team fight, that would have been close to, that would have been basically a replicate of what happened in the second game. Like, just two quick, extremely disastrous team fights for Liquid, and suddenly we're not playing Dota anymore, we're just playing walkover games.
Yeah.
But instead, Liquid do pull it together, they finally pick up another kill on Black. TC has had horrible like creep farm this game, but he is farming heroes. Like he's been part of 10 of 18 kills, which does mean that he's not doing quite as badly as you'd expect a Phantom Lancer who only has 32 last hits at this point to be doing.
Yeah. The one thing I really, really feel bad for about Liquid in this situation, they drafted this Night Stalker to be a force of reckoning, to be able to move about the map, to get good cripples off, to gank hardcore. We see, now that day has struck, he's running on 345 movement speed, only just now picking up his treads. Those will be quarried up to him in a moment, but right now he's literally the day walker. He's just strolling on along. He will be able to creep kill, but he's not going to be able to contribute, even with this engagement that's forthcoming on bottom. Black looking for an opportunity, will be able to avoid that Illuminate. Looking for Mike here. He has phase and drum, but he doesn't want to go too far. Instead, we'll just put pressure out on this tier 1 in a short moment. But yeah, this is where Korok is making a minimal impact. He's died multiple times over. He's dying as much as he's putting damage pressure out. So 3, 5, and 4 Night Stalker during the daytime. Rank 1 ulti is now available, but, you know, it's only going to accomplish so much here, even with a rank 4, a Hunter in the Night. Either way, creep skipping it up, this tier 1, as I said, is going to be pressured very, very hard.
Yeah, I mean, when your Night Stalker is contributing substantially less to team fights than your Phantom Lancer, you're not feeling tremendously good about your position. And Mao's taking this tier 1 tower. It's less even about the gold, although they do get the gold on Lifestealer, which is great. And more, again, when you're Dire fighting up against PL, it's critical that you make sure that the safety of this Radiant jungle is reduced. And that's exactly what Mouz are doing here. They're planting wards, they're taking the tower, and just making it so TC has to be a little nervous about just how many camps he goes for.
Yeah, Black is going to be moving towards that armlet, but using that race car Lifestealer build, is able to close in on Fluff. The Rage comes out the other way around, dispelling the open wounds, and now Cogward looking for a hook, finds it out with those cogs, with the cripple. Nice. Black can't do anything here. He's actually fully picked off. I'm not sure about this darkness usage, but they have the double damage. They want to make sure there is nothing coming for them in this situation here.
It was to dissuade Poss and Alex from just running in there. They probably wouldn't anyway, just because Black was going down extremely quickly. I can't say enough good things about Bulba's play this game, by the way. Yeah. Not only did he get the hook, he timed it to instantaneously land after Rage went down. And that's exactly what it did, which meant, I mean, so it would stun either way. But it was just like that extra little bit of damage is what we need. And honestly, just excellent play. This Clockwork is completely carrying them right now.
Sure. We do see Puck teleporting in towards the mid lane, trying to put pressure out here, but that Ice Blast going wide. It's going to be Puck doing solo damage, and Korok just TPs on out. Really, really good usage of TP, and not able to be avoided, not able to really have to worry about anything. Now, he did have a Blink Dagger. He did pick that up about a minute and a half ago, so he has a lot of presence, and we can definitely see what he can do based on our game 2, what he was able to accomplish with that Blink Puck. But now he's up against a whole nother ball game. He's up against a Night Stalker with that long-range cripple. We actually see Infest Next Bomb on Fluff. He does pop Rage. He gets the TP. He will get out of here despite the right clicks. Perfect usage of Rage TP. Exactly the only thing that he could have done to get out of that situation, and really, really good reaction from Fluff.
Sorry, I just had my camera focused on this because I knew it was going to happen.
Oh, wow, yeah. So, Alex, not in a good spot. The hook shot does come on through from Bulba, and yeah, now he's about to finish up, or what would that be? Either a Necro or a Force Staff. Probably 4
are
staff.
fortified.
Probably
Well,
4
that's
staff.
what Bulba has run previously for most of his
Yeah.
Clockwork games there.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be 4 staff. TL, I think, actually really wanted this tier 1 bot because this would sort of counteract the sort of relative danger of this jungle, but it's okay to not have it. Bulba's actually smoked in the back here. They're
yeah,
gonna charge
going on
black.
in onto black. He has no idea, and without any invest, I mean, those cogs just right-click away. No
Those
magic
cogs, man.
damage taken, but his beast is not going to do enough. There's 4 people right-clicking you down, and though the Ice Blast might land true, will hit onto Bulba at least. It's still not going to stop the push that comes on forward for this tier 1 top, which might kind of nullify the issue that we were talking about previously. Korok caught out kind of in much the same way that happened with the Lifestealer up on top, but Lifestealer obviously being a much more crucial kill than that of the Night Stalker in this stage.
Absolutely. I mean, just look at the levels. Korok, okay, he's been kind of just getting eaten repeatedly, but he's level 11. Black is actually only level 9, and he's quite a bit behind TC at this point, not to mention behind the rest of the team. I mean, Korok at this point, Liquid are already taking measures to sort of just impute the fact that Night Stalker is just sort of a walking silence. Like I said at the beginning, almost the main reason they had the Night Stalker here is to have that guaranteed long-duration silence. And frankly, you can have that and the high nuke damage of the slow, even without him really getting much else. So obviously they'd like for Korok to have a more dominant game, but his game has been just good enough that he's not a serious liability.
Sure.
Like, okay, he died in the day, but you traded off a tower and a kill on the carry for that. Like, you're fine.
Yeah. It's an interesting way to look at it there. I mean, definitely, if he doesn't have the physical damage to back it up, he still is providing what they drafted him for. So I think that's, yeah, true. He's not a liability. But obviously, he wants to try to get out of the gutter and try to pursue on other different things. I mean, he's going to be going up against a Shadowblade Nature's Prophet. So where Night Stalker is usually a great gem carrier, I'm not so sure at this point in time. Now, Korok actually just getting initiated on a little bit cheeky play by Fata as he pushes him back, doing some harassment damage, and it's just gotta be frustrating not to be able to respond to those kind of things.
Not being able to respond to the gross provocation of this puck. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point, Blaze. Definitely, he'd feel better if this Night Stalker were a little more dominant. He could just pop darkness and get kills. Obviously, you do take this hero for the sort of snowballing potential that he presents. But like I said, TL haven't really put together like that dominant of a mid performance this game, and I think they knew they wouldn't, and that's why they sort of drafted around it. Fata is an excellent mid. He's been developing his skill extremely quickly, in my opinion. Really growing to one of the best ones in Europe. So it's going to be tough to just win so hard against Fata on one of his best heroes. You sort of have to just work around it. And they're trying to do that. I mean, they gave Bulba this hero that he's good with that can generate big plays even in the absence of Night Stalker.
Yeah. So Nake's Bomb queued up for Koikwa. He also has Dust. They really want to see TC out of his jungle. They want to see him on the lane and immediately punish him for it. But right now, TC is happy to be in the jungle. He's got so many illusions to work with here, picking up his Diffusive Blade, and there's nothing to really stop him. So Koikwa still has the Nake's Bomb, but again, that means that the lifesteal isn't farming for right now. The Rocket Flare comes on out, and they have to actually go for a fight here now or never, because again, every single second ticking away is less and less GPM for this lifestealer. And now
he doesn't even have armlet, Blaze. I mean, this is a serious problem.
Now we do see TPing on in. The puck has friggin' BOTs going on for a big Dream Coil onto 3 here. Waning Rift only going to hit onto Fluff, though. There is going to be an Ice Blast hitting out on Ix Mike, but the mechanism is already out. He still drops due to the Shatter. Big Wrath of Nature going across. Black is up in the action, but gets cogged and telekinesis back. And I think they'll be able to get out without any more casualties, but they did lose Korok in the northern end of that as well. TPing on through. Bulba is silenced up. He actually is going to get sprouted on through. He doesn't have Force Staff, and he is going to die as well. So that was good usage of Koikwa's. It's a short-range TP, but it's what they needed to lock him in place there. And unfortunately, Liquid just doesn't have too much to bring down those trees.
I still feel like, I keep saying this because it keeps happening, but just Liquid's position at the beginning of these team fights is just always not what I'd like to see. What was Korok doing walking this way when the entire rest of his team was retreating this way? I don't, it's not clear to me what the point of that was, and then he just sort of stays in to try to pop off the silence on Nature's Prophet when it's, I don't know, it's obviously more clear to us that the Nature's Prophet is carrying a Nyx payload than it is to the players who sort of can't, they obviously can't see that there's a lifestealer inside there. But it's just, it's such a dangerous position for him to be in, and I said that, well, Night Stalker isn't that much of a liability, but if you're about to 5v5 and he just drops for free, that's not really the case. Like, I don't know. both teams still have a very good chance of winning. Like, Fata is frankly huge. I mean, Boots of Travel, Blink Dagger, this is the big plays puck. He wants to go for winning every fight on his back. And Black is just, this is some of the least developed play we've ever seen on Lifestealer from Black, like in terms of item development.
Yeah.
Still does not have Armlet. He just has it brought to him right now at 21 minutes.
Yeah.
Usually when a Lifestealer gets Armlet this late, we're like, oh yeah, they basically lost. But in this case, just because the rest of the team is executing so well and they're catching Liquid out in these team fights, that's not been the case.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. In this position, yeah, no real there is the engagement on Ike's Mike. He will be picked off, but I'm not sure about retaliation. Nice and mechanism, and using the blinding light, he still will drop down to Black, but puts him in a weird spot. These cogs really breaking apart the team fight, and Black will be dropped down. Too much damage coming out. I cannot rage even if he wanted to, even if he had the cooldown back up. Now looking for an ultimate hook shot. Bulba, come on, do it. No, he's got the Shadow Blade coming on out. Oh, he goes instead for PAS. Picks him off, or Alex picks him up very nicely. So he does get somebody on out of it, and that's a nice play there. I was hoping for the profit, but of course the Shadow Blade did go on through there, so only so much that can be accomplished. But they're going to move in, and do you think they can put some damage in the tier 2, or they're just going to fall back?
They can put damage into the tier 2 because TC is here and he's got Diffusal. I think they're okay.
Okay.
The problem is somebody's going to have to deal with this tier 3.
Coming on in. Nope, just doing his cheeky play again. No
should get out. Because they're actually going to cop quite a bit of tier 3 damage.
Ancient Apparition, Ice Blast just respawned. Probably going to be sending it out in just a moment. No, still has yet to cast it, so I guess they're just going to get out scot-free. But, yeah.
If it were level 2, maybe you could score a kill, but because you can't, it's not worth casting.
Sure. I mean, it's short cooldown, though. I mean, it's a pretty interesting spell. Combining this with the Wrath of Nature, you have a lot of AoE damage potential that can bring down anybody that you really have good vision on, if they're at a low HP level. Of course, on top of that, we've seen the Nyx bombs in action, so combining these together, they have a lot of upfront burst, but the mechanisms have been really great for Ike's Mike. Every single time he sees it coming, he gets the mech off first, oftentimes his magic wand as well. And so, even though people get hit by it, the fact that it nullifies healing hasn't been much of a factor here.
Are they going to let this Roshan go? No, they are going to go for it, but they might be a bit late. Yeah. Mouz is actually killing this Rosh remarkably quickly, considering I don't see any armor redux. I think
Chilling Touch was used once, so that does add in
a
little burst. Even if it's big reduction, but Bulba jumping on in. The Aegis will go to the Lifestealer, but blinding light off on Cliff. Leshrac falls. Quakewa just trying to hide out and try to avoid everything that's going on here. Bulba taking a lot of hits and probably will die to the Shadow Effect. Indeed, will. Black still up on his first life, duking it out with Korok, but he's up in a 1v3 here, and blinding light will be back up in 5 seconds. Here comes on Fata trying to turn this around. Nice silence going across. He does also have double damage, but it's about to expire. Cleaning up, Keeper Light will fall. Now Koikwa caught in with Bulba. Without any detection, they have to change targets. Going on to the puck, he is crippled up, he is diffuseled up, he will take a fall, and Black, the last man visibly standing, and he's going to be just walking on out of there as fast as he possibly can. Bulba with a nice Force Staff, looking for the cogs, Diffusal to catch him on in, he's stuck, he drops. I'm amazed that he didn't just go for the Rage TP. Didn't think he needed it, but beautiful Force Staff coming out of Bulba, locks him on in.
Actually, Fata might clean this up a little bit. Nope, he can't. There's just too much.
Koikwa looking for a couple of easy right clicks with the Shadow Blade, but TC is right nearby. So Reski gets the one-shot and just going to try to TP on away. Doesn't get the opportunity, though. Too much burst damage. One more Juxtapose proc. He just needed one more proc. Got the last right pick from the Illusion, and Pod's even too far in over his head. Fata jumps on in to bring down Korok, but is just jumping all about here. You see the pickoff on Pause, and Fata's pretty much all by himself here. Blink Dagger available in 3 seconds, and he's such a slippery fellow that I think he can still survive on out of this, but it's difficult with that mana leak. I don't know, man. He has Magic Wand and BOTs, but here comes Bulba. Hook shot available. He just needs vision, and these creeps will provide it. Blinking on out in. He's going to go for a hook shot. Come on. No! He actually goes southeast, and actually a little bit delayed as well. So not going to happen there. But big plays can't happen every time, and in this situation here, we're just going to see Fata jumping all about, as I said before, and yeah, he's going to be just able to outmaneuver Liquid. Nevertheless, the Liquid taking so much of that fight. They lose the Roche, they lose the Aegis, and still, they just completely destroy everything else after the fact.
No, big win for Liquid. The thing is here, there's a player on each team generating enormous opportunities for his team to actually win a fight. And that's Fata on Mouz, and it's Bulba on Liquid. Right now the game is all about how good of a fight can these guys generate. And then, well, actually, sorry, that's half of it. The other half is how can they follow up on the great fights that these guys are generating. And right now, Mouz can't really follow up. sorry, Black did get a few levels from that finally, but he's still just not dealing the damage. He doesn't have the damage to follow up Fata's initiations. And Fata himself is not going to bring 3 people down, because this is a fairly tanky Liquid team. PL is not trivial to kill. Night Stalker, even with this sort of leveling, is not trivial to kill. And Clockwork's no slouch either. So it's just that even when Mouz, I think, get the better of an early part of an engagement, like, there was an excellent Waning Rift in that fight. Like, 2 actually excellent Waning Rifts. But the problem was Black, even with an Aegis, couldn't really just make enough happen on top of it.
Yeah, it almost seems like the Furion could have picked up the Aegis and done more with it. He has a lot of right-click damage comparatively, but you look at Black's CS, this is not a game where Black usually plays. He's usually like up here, moving in towards 200. He's sitting at 72. He's not playing that Lifestealer in a hardcore farm sense, at least not well enough. He's constantly going for those Infest ganks. He's still up in Koikwa, and although this tower might drop, oh my gosh, that 4-stab attempt. He even gets the Duz, looking for the hookshot, he gets it on top of Koikwa, but turning around, the Infest does come out, trapped on in with the Ice Blast to strike. It will be the death of the Clockwork in turn, so 1 for 1 there. What is Fluff still doing here? He has Korok at his back, but it's still a rough fight. I guess I'm still continuing, like, subconsciously overestimating the Snakes' potential, but nevertheless, I'm afraid for Fluff. He does get the blink on out of there, and they might be able to make this happen. I'm not too sure. Here comes Fata, though, changing that thought entirely, bringing down Fluff quickly with that cold feet to lock him in place. So they do get the kill there, and yeah, they do lose the gem, which is huge. Again, yeah, maybe it would have been a fight that they could have possibly taken, but there's no reason to take that risk.
Yeah, I don't know, especially since he was carrying the gem. I feel like if he wasn't, it's maybe not the end of the world, but with it, not sure. Yeah. Kind of an iffy choice. Maybe they thought they had more coming in, but TC was sort of dueling Koikwa. I don't know.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult in that position. I love the Bulba play, though. I'll kind of highlight that real quick, because the way that he initiated that, he force-staffed himself to the northwest to get out of creeps, so try to go and line up that hook shot. He actually just pretty much made sure that not a single creep was in the way to go for the hook, and then popped off that dust right then. Followed on through. He couldn't get it on the high ground, so he just went low, went into the river, and hit the trajectory. The problem was there was a surprise package that he wasn't aware of there with the Infest coming in out and turning it around. So they lost 2, and they lost the gem, and that's going to be something that they have to work very hard to make up for now that it's struck daytime once more.
Definitely. I mean, Korok is, like I said, the fact is, even though Korok had a really slow start, he has the levels, and that's pretty substantial, and he finished BKB, which is huge. I actually think they're even if they were okay with Korok before, they're, like, super okay with his position now. Yeah, they're not quite going to go far enough with that hook shot. I feel like Liquid are more or less in the driver's seat here, because Black is behind, which means that Mouz are going to have a lot of trouble actually exerting enough pressure to take down TC. And of course, we saw in the last game, if you leave a Phantom Lancer alone for long enough, Mouz have even fewer countermeasures to Phantom Lancer this game than Liquid had to him last game.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. They started off with the Phantom Lancer. We knew that would be a big issue in the late stage of the game, but I'm actually kind of surprised at how low impact TC has been in this first 30 minutes. I mean, he's sitting here, he's 6-3 and 8. It's not bad. I mean, it's good for a carry that wants to go for late game, but in general, like, he just has not been nearly as much of an issue as Bulba setting things up. Like, he's pretty much just focusing on farm, focusing on making sure it goes to late game, and that's all well and good. But I'd like to see a little bit more aggression out of him as well, especially now that he has his Diffusal and his Manta style.
I mean, yeah, TC has been doing a good job of participating in just enough fights where they actually need him to make sure that they're not, like, super outnumbered, and B, actually finding his farm.
Yeah, well, I'm fine with his team fight participation, but I'm kind of trying to critique a little bit on the fact that he hasn't been split pushing much. Like, tier 2s have been touched a little bit here and there, but he's not taking really any risk. It's all kind of on the hands of the other people to set it up for him, and I guess there's not too much reason and incentive to take risks, but they could definitely benefit from a little bit of that good old juxtaposed illusions, right-clicking down on the towers while everything else is going on across the map.
Sure, but it's not the safest thing in the world, just because you do have a puck that has Boots of Travel Blink, and could be carrying like a Lifestealer within him, and their ability to respond to that is vastly worse than Mouz's ability to generate it. Like, Mouz has quite good global presence between AA, Nature's Prophet, Boots of Travel, Blink, Puck, and Lifestealer. Like, they can really appear. The only person who's not globally relevant is Leshrac, basically, so sorry to pause, but you're sort of the fifth wheel on this team.
Yeah, exactly. No, I guess, yeah, that's kind of the bone to pick that I had to pick with him has kind of been shattered there. If you're thinking about it from that perspective, the Nature's Prophet's global presence and the fact that the Puck can jump in at any time as well, it's very, very hard to put yourself out there, and I guess it's better to not get picked off and not really worry about the potential risk. It might be very far outweighed by that potential reward. So
I would totally agree with you if the tri-lane had gone better, but just because he did have a slower start than you usually want, he wants to play safe, and I can't blame him for it. I think I'm usually lean towards playing safe as is, so I would naturally praise anybody playing safe because they have time. I feel like Black's still a little bit behind. Quakeboy is going to get quite strong, and he's been farming very well, but I feel like they're more or less comfortable with that.
Now looking on in, I believe no smoke's coming out just yet, so just kind of making sure their wards are well maintained. Right now, I actually do really like Mouz's wards covering up down on the bottom rune. It hasn't been dispelled for some reason, so that's pretty cool. And also in the mid ward, that lane ward being very, very effective. So keeping coverage in that regard, I really think that there's a lot of potential for Liquid to make sure that nothing is going to be penetrating this jungle. I think there's good ward action there, but Mouz kind of have yet to answer back. They picked up their observer wards, they have some sentries, but they really haven't done anything just yet to place them. Ancient Apparition literally sitting on 4 wards, so Alex can do a lot, but it just kind of shows a little bit of how much pressure they're under, that if a hook shot from Clockwork suddenly pulls them out of position, that they're completely screwed. So Alex really not willing to commit to even placing a ward down on the enemy's Ancients right now.
Yeah, definitely Mouz are feeling the pinch. What they're sort of trying to hit is particular item timings, I feel like. Pause, you see him building towards what's most likely a BKB. Alex is finally working on this mechanism, which is no joke, honestly. They really do need that. They don't have one, right? I'm not being an idiot. No, they don't have a mechanism. So, yeah, Alex wants that mechanism. Pause wants the BKB. And, of course, Black wants really anything. He's got Basher, but it's not quite enough yet. So they know that Liquid, for now, are still going to be a little paranoid about actually doing split pushes or putting that much pressure on. So that gives Mouz the necessary breathing room to just get a few of these necessary items. That said, Liquid are building as well. I mean, we talked about the BKB on Korok already. And then we also have to sort of talk about the fact that Rubik has Blink done. Bulba is pretty damn close to his Black King bar as well, only about 1,000 gold.
Sure. So,
and that's big, because Mouz are really, really magic reliant still.
Most definitely. So you pose this question to me all the time. I'm going to actually throw it your direction this time around. Korok is in a position where he's bounced back from his really unfortunate early game. Bulba's really on point with his initiation, and now the ticking time bomb of Phantom Lancer is actually moving in towards that late game status. What does Mouz Sports need to do to turn things around to put themselves back in control of this game?
I would say that just find the item timings and really, really press hard once you get them. So Quakwa, he's moving. He's going to be at that sheep stick really, really soon. Like he has his ultimate orb and he has almost enough money to at least finish the Mystic Staff. Once you hit, or what's it called? Scythe of Ice, BKB on Leshrac, who will hit it pretty soon. Pause. And the mechanism, just look to go Team Global. Put all those wards down wherever you can. Use Fata's gem to clear away wards, and then just jump on Liquid wherever they are, and then get sort of 3 versus 1, 2 versus 1 pickoffs, and fight from that position. The problem is they're under a lot of pressure right now that they have to weather before they can reach that. If they do, I feel like they have a shot. It's just a matter of extremely tight execution and superior map control.
I gotta say, I'm kind of shaking my head right now at how long this lifesteal has been sitting in this Prophet. Still inside right now. Prophet's farmed up an entire jungle, pushed down, split push on the top lane, and the Nyx still sits in. He's walking around as an extra little burst of damage. Yes, he gets mobile presence.
Oh my god.
Holy crap, can't even fight illusions because they just keep on proccing away. But still, like, what is Nyx doing right now? What is he accomplishing? His GPM is just dropping down 368, and now he finally starts to move in towards farm, but he's literally spent 3 minutes just chilling out inside somebody, hoping to
It's not even the first time.
Yeah, and he's been doing it all game long, and yes, it's a nice burst, 400 damage, and suddenly there's a lifestealer right in the middle of things, and that's great, but how much time are you really going to commit to just have that possibly happen with the right initiation? Right now, Liquid's not letting up in the sense that they're always together. You can't play this like a kind of CK Wisp, where you run the Lifestealer constantly inside that Prophet to try to get those picks, because they're really not letting you. The only person out of position right now is Korok, and he's so darn quick during nighttime, it's hardly relevant.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just that, but they also don't have vision on Liquid's side of the map. Like, they kind of have been sometimes using Fata when he finds like an invis rune to sort of scout it out, but they just haven't found that opportunity. And I have to agree with you. This is actually pretty uncharacteristic play from Black. Like, he usually is very... He sort of only sets up that sort of high-risk play if he knows that he A, can pull it off, B, is in a position that he's comfortable with. And he has spent way too much time sort of sitting in Quakewa without any result. And I think they just find themselves a little bit out of sorts, because Liquid is putting a lot of pressure on. These Phantom Lancer illusions, he's about to... How close is he to that heart? Pretty close.
Indeed, he has the Reaver up, has been farming up nicely, so yeah, not too much more to look at there. The Siege Creep is going to put this tower in deny range, so the tier 2 up on top should be falling shortly. In Liquid sense, they're going to be hoping for it of their own volition, and indeed, Korok does get that deny, so taking a bit of gold off the board. Fata in not the best spot in technicality when you consider TC just roaming about the jungle, but I just got to kind of ponder a little bit on that second part. TC roaming around their jungle. I was talking about him not really capitalizing on more advanced farm because he didn't want to take risk before. Now he's in a great position to just be reckless. Now Quakewa is coming on in with that infested Nags. There he goes. TC going to be the target of choice with this big Ice Blast coming out, but actually hitting on nothing. Instead, Boba on the front line with that BKB. Right-clicking away with Korok as well. Beautiful forced cogs from Boba. Locking in everybody here. No escape. Just saying, not one chance at all. Rocket Player hits on Quakewa. They just need a Void. They do get enough damage from Rubik to finish it off here. And that's it. So they clean this 4-for-1. They do end up losing TC, but in the end, though, the team fight went completely the other way around, and Roche will be their prize for the taking. I just got to highlight again. That 4-staff cogs trapped in 3 people that completely cut off an escape route. It's like a building's burning down and you just close off half the fire exits. It's just like suddenly people are just going to start falling, and that was really, really smooth play.
Great. I really like that analogy. Definitely apropos for the situation. It's crazy to me, Blaze, how close this game looks when you look at the numbers, and how far away it looks when you actually look at the actual game. Like, if Liquid just seized their first gold advantage of the game a few minutes ago, and that does not comport with my understanding of what's going on in this game at all.
So Radiant and Night Stalker pick up that Aegis the Immortal and the Roshan kill itself. So Korok is in a pretty good spot now with that Aghanim Scepter and Gem. This is something I'm not even sure has been such a chaotic game, so I'm not actually sure if I mentioned it with the Night Stalker, but the build-up that he wanted to go for, he has these 3 core items that I would consider what I would say number 3 Night Stalker. He technically played number 2 being solo mid, but as far as his farming potential, his GPM is actually 378, so I can't knock it entirely, but it just felt like he took so long to get off the ground. But barring that sidebar, what I'm trying to say is that the big items they picked up, the BKB, which actually has its full 10-second duration available, the Aegis the Immortal, and the Gem of True Sight, is the best counter you can possibly have to go up against this Nature's Prophet, because whenever you come out to that lane, you have 1800 clear vision during the nighttime, and that vision has True Sight in with it, with the Gem of True Sight. So that is setting it up so that Korok can pretty much have full understanding of any forthcoming ganks. I mean, he almost sees Puck there. He doesn't, because the gem doesn't reach that far indeed, but nevertheless, he can find out any invisible heroes and make them pay. So Puck Fata can't play around with those invis runes as aggressively as before. The Shadow Blade means very, very little now, and it seems like they want to start moving in for the kill.
I adore the Ags pickup, because there's no Bane or something. Like, they don't actually need to make sure that Night Stalker is a potential second damage dealer. The PL will deal enough damage. The Ags, coupled with the fact that Mouz has basically no outer tower standing, means that Liquid have essentially secured map control for the rest of the game. And we talked about Mouz's game plan being to... Oh, Boba misses a little bit.
Big miss, and actually Sheep sticked up. He's going to drop down here, a couple of right-clicks going that way, but they are kind of pinned on in. Teleport available for Quakewa and for Black. They might just both get on out here. The Splitter does hit, though, and they're actually able to interrupt the main TP, but almost getting on out with that teleportation spell. Nevertheless, taking a fall. Black not able to get out as well. Did he cancel that?
Cancel what?
No,
they got voided, dude. They
he
had
didn't rage
6
it?
splits. No, I think Rage was down. He raged right when he came out to kill Bulba.
Yeah, he was
so
doing
Rage
for
was still
Bulba.
on CD.
Okay, so yeah, he raged for bringing down Bulba, and as a result, he could not actually secure his TP. He just tried to use the forest jukes, but no juking against Night Stalker. It's not allowed with this map hacks clear vision. You can just see it on the mini-map. It's ridiculous what you can see. So
Good,
they get the void, no rage, and 2 picks.
Actually, a really good counter push from Fata here. He might actually... I don't know if he's going to get this tier 3 tower, but he's pretty freaking close, actually.
Yeah, working at it pretty hardcore. Pushes into deny
We'll go
range.
high ground, man.
Yeah, he'll actually be able to finish it off with a few more right clicks. Phase out one of the auto attacks, whatever.
Yeah.
Ruby comes on in, does telekinesis,
Oh, no.
does follow the Split Earth, and he gets the solo kill with a 20 HP tower to lend its aid. Ice Blast coming out on top, doing some damage to Korok, but TC dodges it out, and they will be able to take this tier 3 tower of their own. Fluff denies the tower down on bottom, but they take the tower up on top. Coming on in, Nature's Prophet with the Shadow Blade, but they have that gem. They know he's there. They go on top of him with the Fusel, the Void, the Crippling, everything working perfectly for them. And even BK being out the Split Earth means they get that kill 100% cleanly. And now, finishing off the racks, this might be it.
Yeah, Fata no buyback is a big deal. He just... I understand the greed because I was there like salivating at the prospect myself and I'm not even in the game, but the greed does cost them. Without Fata, I mean, I talked earlier about how this is a matter of you generate the opportunity with your big initiator, whether that be Clockwork or Puck, and you follow it up with your carry. And so without the opportunity generator, there's no opportunity.
Korok should lose his Aegis here with the Ice Blast locking on top of him and taking up a few tower hits. He probably will fall, but Bulba starting things off with that BKB on top of Pause. We were talking about his cast. No chance. Just kind of, what is the word for when the horses buck up like that? But it doesn't matter. Either way.
Rears up?
Yeah, but he's like rearing up, trying to cast off Split Earth after Split Earth. No way. Cast animation delay, not going to happen. Korok still survived through that Ice Blast. Still, I guess it's the fact that it's only rank 2 instead of rank 3. But either way, finally the Aegis of the Immortal pops off, and they can still just go in as 5 to finish off this entire base. So, cleaning on up, the good games do come out, and yeah, Liquid lays it in to Mouse Sports in this game here. It was a bit of a shaky start. They lost a lot in the mid lane. They didn't do so hot in the bottom, but they were able to rebound nicely with a couple of key engagements, and I gotta say, easy MVP. Don't even have to debate it. Bulba all over the place with some really sick hooks.
No, I mean, absolutely. Bulba, here's the thing, Mouz, with sort of a clear-eyed perspective, picked a bunch of heroes. Like, Clockwork came out early enough that they didn't necessarily need, like, Leshrac, for instance. He's still a good pick, but they knew that they'd be in trouble if this. Clockwork had a great game, and if I'm Mouz, the instant Koikwa drops top, like in 1v1 early in the game, like, uh-oh, this is gonna be a problem. And a problem is exactly what it was, since Bulba had just had excellent execution all through.
Yeah.
I'd be hard-pressed to think of a team fight that Liquid won where Bulba wasn't sort of the #1 player there. But what really sealed the deal was not just that, but I really like this play from Korok, actually. The fact that he didn't play too aggressively. He didn't get himself caught out after that really slow start, and building out the sort of supporty items and not trying to go too much hard on the damage. Like, that Ags actually is what closed the door on Mouz, I feel like. Because if they had still been able to sort of find their farm at assorted points on the map, and especially escape from gank attempts, it would have been they would have been in much better shape. But instead, Liquid just able to plan perfectly, control a huge area of the map, and just make sure that Mouz couldn't somehow drag their way back in.
Most definitely. And, you know, Fluff and stuff picking up his key main double 4-staff build just to make sure that he has all the mobility he could possibly need by putting some 4-staff on his 4-staff. But beyond that, just kidding around. What we're going to be looking at next segment will be something we call Ask the Pros. It's going to be us pulling in one of the members of Team Liquid for a post-match interview. You guys will be able to put in questions at twitch.tv/the Premier League, the chat there when I do ask for them, to kind of get an interaction and get some insight out of what some of these players think here. So looking forward to that. But real quick, I want to actually retract a couple of the call-outs that I was making, a little bit of criticisms. One thing was about Korok. I kept on acting like he was a non-factor. I kept on acting like he was a #3 or a #4 as far as their farm relevance because he just had such a wrong start. But he came back so nicely. He had huge amounts of assists racked on up.
Yeah.
16 assists, 165 CS. He bounced back with an Aghanims, gem, a BKB, and in the end, even a Basher. I counted him out, and I shouldn't have done that. So I'm gonna negate that call out there. And along with that TC, I kept on saying that he wasn't split pushing enough, and he could have been playing a bit more aggressive. But you're absolutely right. The fact that he played a stable, non-throwing, willing to actually commit himself to death mentality meant that he could get this big item set and make sure that they won the game. So those two callouts I will retract completely because I gotta say that was not really cool in my me to go on
it's
that.
Cool, Blaze.
It worked out, but you know,
that's
casters,
what you keep me around for the counter callouts.
Exactly. Well, anyways, awesome game. We kind of called it out, wrapped it up in the end there. But do you have any other thoughts on how this, other than the fact that Black didn't farm? I'm not going to retract that call out. He has spent so much time invested in profit. But other than that, like, what do you think there is anything else to really hit on this game?
I mean, no. Mouz overall in this series, I think, played pretty solid. I thought their play was okay. They definitely stronger than they were towards the tail end of last month, which is sort of where they need to be. When you get on a bit of a losing streak and you're slumping, you want a series like this where you're like, oh, like right, we do succeed at certain things. Like we do have strengths as a team. We can make stuff happen. Fata is growing into a serious playmaker in the mid role, and we have a good core that we can sort of rebuild around. So even though they don't get the win, I think Mouz have to feel pretty good about this sort of return to the scene here. And of course, TL, they do become the first team to 100% lock themselves into the playoffs. A strong contender to actually be the first seed in the playoffs, since this does improve them to 7-1, and just looking incredibly strong as contenders in this tournament overall. But yeah, no, that's really all I have to say about it. I actually have to pop off. I think I'm going to another cast.
Sure thing. Well, you take care of that. Thank you guys so much for coming on. You want to plug your stream and all that real quick? Or?
Sure, yeah. Vikramond, if you like my casting. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Vikramond.com, VYKROMOND. And I will be doing an ongoing tournament that's the most recent tournament ticket, Netolic TV, and you can check that out as well. That's twitch.tv/NETOLIC-TV. Thanks, y'all.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, and very, always a pleasure to be able to cast with you, man. So thank you for coming on into this one here.
Yep, peace.
But beyond that, like I said, we're going to be going on into the Ask the Pros interview here. Team Liquid locking in their slot to secure 100%. They are going to be in the playoff finals here. Might be based on a couple of other games they played to decide if they're going to be #1 seed or might have to be #2 and fight it out with the third place in that situation. But either way, they played a smooth game here, well deserving of that kind of position. A couple of issues in game 2 as far as being in the wrong position, the wrong mindset going into fights, but in general, a really good game by them, and I hope you guys enjoyed as he did his. I'm just going to go real quick and mention that if you guys enjoyed my commentary, you can check me out at twitter.com/blazecasting. That's where we're going to hit all that up, but we're actually probably going to have Bulba on for our interview in just a moment. So awesome game from them, and again, Ask the Pros coming up in just a few minutes, most likely with Bulba, but I'll keep you guys informed in the chat there. So either way, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll have the interview coming up in just a minute.